Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another edition of Cubs Daily. My name is Steven Ryan. The Cubs get absolutely jumped from the get-go in Game 1 in Milwaukee. They fall 9-3. We're going to talk about that game. I'm not even sure if the Cubs could have done anything to correct that situation in that one. We're going to break that down. We're going to talk about the Brewers and how impressive they looked on that front. And we're going to talk about if this team can bounce back. We're going to have Game 2 later tonight. So let's just hop right into it, ladies and gentlemen. The Cubs tried to be slick. They threw out Matthew Boyd on 3 days rest. Now, granted, he only threw 58 pitches in that Game 1 wild card performance against the Padres. So, not too much strain on the arm. But I just remember the last time he pitched in Milwaukee that he got absolutely bombarded by the Milwaukee Brewers in the series opener. And, it kind of just looked the same way. Now, granted, I'm going to say this. I'm not saying the Brewers are lucky. I don't think they're lucky. I think they're a really good baseball team. But let's just be real. They were hitting the ball all over the yard, and even the ones that weren't well hit were finding the grass, okay? And we're going to talk about that here in a second. That first inning definitely did also stem even further from that Nico Hoerner error, which, again, after the game, he did shoulder the blame on that one. I'm not sure if the Cubs were going to win this game anyways. The way this offense was rolling for the Brewers in those first two innings, they kind of sent a message. They threw the big right hook, and this team just couldn't bounce back. The game started off excellent with that Michael Busch leadoff home run. But again, Freddie Peralta, one of the best in the world so far this season, as an ace for this Brewers team, and they just took care of business, plain and simple, and they got the 9-3 Game 1 win. There's a couple of goods and bads. Obviously, giving up 9 runs is never a good thing, but again, the Cubs didn't have to use too many high-leverage arms. They got Matt Boyd out of there after 30 pitches. Soroka struggled as well. Aaron Savali did a great job, and then Ben Brown finished it out. After that second inning, the Cubs did not give up a run to the Brewers and, outscored them 2-0 in the last 7 innings. Again, obviously it's garbage time. Take that with a grain of salt. But if you want to look for some momentum, that might be a way to look at it. That Nico Hoerner error kind of summed it up for me. I'm like, we're going to lose this game. I mean, he doesn't make those errors. He usually makes that play. It's a tough play. I'm not taking that any way away from him, but usually he takes care of business on that front. That would have put 2 outs. Maybe they get another run, but instead it led to 6 first-run innings. And that was pretty much all she wrote, especially with their ace Freddie Peralta on the bump. I mean, there's not much they're going to do on that front. So Cubs get crushed. That's okay. And again, talking about it, man, they just, every single time the Milwaukee Brewers got a hit, it found grass, plain and simple, right? There was that bloop over Nico's head that found grass. The first 3 pitches were just perfectly placed. That Cheerios double down the line. That Bryce Terang ripped to right field. I don't know if that guy predominantly goes the other way with the ball, but there was so much grass open in right field. It really confused me. And then, that William Contreras double, Hab was just a little over to the left too much. He dove, made a diving effort, but just no avail. 3 straight doubles, and it was already 2-1 Brewers. And before the inning was over, it was just pretty much ball game over on that front. So Cubs couldn't get the job done. I wasn't expecting the Cubs to sweep the Milwaukee Brewers. They were the best team in all of baseball with the best record, for the season. Whether you want to think they're the best team or not, they've played that way all year. And honestly, given the situation, you never know how a team's going to come out, especially with that many days rest. They came out jumping. They were ready to jump on the first pitch. Generally speaking, the Brewers are a little bit more patient of a team. Pat Murphy just said, hey, we're going to take it to them. If you see a strike, swing it, and that's what they did. And they executed flawlessly, man. Flawless game plan there. But that doesn't mean that this team for the Cubs can't bounce back, okay? Game 2, it's a fresh new series. The way I was watching that game, I was like, you might as well let them score 20 runs. Let them get it all out of their system, okay? It's only 1 loss. It's the first race to 3. I think the defense, I don't even think that was the defense's fault necessarily in that game. But, if, you're hitting the ball hard and it's not where the defense is at, the defense can't do anything. And that's exactly what the Milwaukee Brewers did on that front. But after Soroka got taken out, Savali did a good job. Even Ben Brown was on, I saw him and I was like, oh, wait, I forgot he's on the roster. He did okay. He didn't let up any extra runs or anything like that. So, again, I think this Cubs team can bounce back. On a positive note, we did out-homer the Brewers 3-0. They were all solo shots, and 2 of them were garbage time. I get it. It's baseball, ladies and gentlemen. It's a game where you fail 75% of the time. You got to be positive about some things, okay? This team has been excellent at bouncing back all season long, okay? 48-24, 1-0 in the postseason after a loss. There's no reason this team can't do it coming into game 2, especially given the day off. They get to reset. The schedule for the NLDS is a little strange, I believe, for this team. But hey, it's the way it's set up. It might play advantage to the Cubs or it might play advantage to the Brewers. We shall see. I was looking on FanDuel before, for the video, and it looks like the Brewers are actually going to go with an opener in Aaron Ashby. I think they want to combat the Michael Busch, and then they want to maybe combat Kyle Tucker if he's batting third as well. So curious to see if they bat Kyle Tucker third or fourth maybe to put Ian Happ there. But even then, that might favor the Brewers because Ian Happ struggles against left-handed hitters. Nico Horner, he just hits whoever's in his way pretty much. So I was curious to see what this offense is going to do this game. They are throwing Shota Imanaga on the mound. I'm just going to be honest, Shota has been rough here towards the latter half of the year. Ever since pretty much August, he's been getting lit up out there. He's given up a home run in 10 of his last 11 starts. I'm not sure what this is going to look like. I'm not sure if they're just going to send Shota to the mound for the first, 1 through 9 hitters. I'm curious to see what the strategy here is going into game 2. Because honestly, it's kind of all hands on deck, right? It's not technically an elimination game. It feels like an elimination game, okay? If they go down 0-2 to the Brewers, I can't imagine this Cubs team winning the next 3. They have beaten the Brewers 3 times in a row before this year, but them doing it again in this setting, having to face Freddie Peralta one more time, I just can't see the Cubs doing it. And, I love the Cubs. I love this team. I think they're really good, but maybe our best is just not the Milwaukee Brewers' best, and that's a realistic possibility going here into the rest of this week. So we're going to have game 1, we're going to have game 2 later tonight, 8:08, a very late start, kind of a quirky time for the Central, and then we're going to have game 3 and 4 on Wednesday and Thursday, and then if, it comes down to it, game 5 is going to be next Saturday in Milwaukee. So, if the Cubs are going to have a chance in the series, they're going to have to take this next game. And I'm curious to see how we use Imanaga, because if Imanaga's getting hit, I think, they might go Imanaga for 3, bring in Colin Ray for 3, and then use those high leverage arms like Thielbar and Kittredge and Keller to close out the rest of this series. So curious to know what you guys' thoughts are on this matchup. Brewers, again, best record in baseball. It wasn't going to be easy, ladies and gentlemen. There's no doubt about this. It was not going to be an easy game. So, again, let's keep the train rolling. We're a great team at bouncing back after losses, and I imagine we're going to do the same here. So, for all of you who have tuned into the channel, I appreciate every single one of you. And again, I hope you all have a fantastic Monday, and sweat it out with me. 8:08 Central Time, tomorrow night, Game 2, NLDS, Cubs Brewers. It's going to be a good one.